Welcome to the city of Be'er Sheva, which was established around the time of David HaMelech and Shlomo HaMelech, a little bit after. A walled city. We see the first reference to Be'er Sheva during the time of Avraham Avinu. He came here, he dug wells. Be'er Sheva could be named for the 7 wells that he dug or for the Shavuot that he made with Avimelech.
So archaeologists arrive here and say, okay, this is Be'er Sheva. They start digging. And they are very, very disappointed in the excavation here. Already in the 1970s. Why are they disappointed? They find nothing. Nothing. Not even 2 stones of a ruin of a wall. Nothing from days of Avraham. Nothing days of Yitzchak, which is Tkufat HaAvot. From those hundreds of years, they found nothing. So what did they do? They said, okay, Tanach's problem, not ours. We're archaeologists, right? But to say why I think the sign is incorrect, we need to go to Yehoshua Tetvav Kaf. Zot nachalat matei bnei Yehuda lemishpechotam, and then they start running through them, and in Kaf Chet, v'chatzar Shual uver Sheva, and a place called Vizyotia. Now we're going to deal with someone that lived inside Yehuda, and that is Shimon. The interesting thing is we are told, Achalkem beYaakov v'afitzem beYisrael, literally. Levi were spread out. Shimon, very interesting. Let's go to Mateh bnei Shimon, and that is in Yehoshua Yud Tet. Vayetze הגורל השני לשמעון, למטה בני שמעון למשפחותם, ויהי נחלתם בתוך נחלת בני יהודה. They're enclosed within. ויהי להם בנחלתם, פסוק ב', באר שבע, ושבע ומולדה. Hey, that wasn't mentioned in Yehuda, right? So there's a place called 7, and there's a place called Be'er 7. Or maybe it's actually Shvu'ah. Depends on how you want to understand what's going on with Avraham Yitzchak. Maybe both are correct. But there's Be'er Sheva and there's Sheva. So the easy solution is to ask the Arabs, because they are very good in actually keeping the names. The Bedouin city that's right there is called Tel Sheva. That's its name. But what did the archaeologists do? They accidentally did the following. Tel Sheva, oh, it's actually really Be'er Sheva, and they missed the Be'er. So they actually identified this site, an archaeological site from the biblical times, as Be'er Sheva. But apparently they should have said, they know what they're talking about. This is Sheva. 2 miles, 3 miles west is a place that the Arabs call Bir Asaba. You know, you can't miss it, right? So after this was excavated, and not everyone agrees upon this, so they didn't change the name, but there's a huge excavation taking place in the ancient part of Be'er Sheva, which is a city founded turn of the century, 1900. A modern city founded on top of some ancient spot. And there they're going deep down and discovering ancient finds. It's still ongoing. The interesting thing is, will they find Avraham and Yitzchak? Did they have a house? So what should you find from the culture of Avraham and Yitzchak? Wells and nothing. You understand that this is something almost or literally impossible to really find. They're in the middle of nowhere. They put 7, sheep aside. And we name a place. They're on their own. There's nothing here. So what we should be looking for is mainly wells. Now the interesting thing about this is you climbed a little bit up. So we got some wind, and you see the scenery. You actually notice that this hill is kind of one of the highest hills around here, which means it overlooks everything. And here there's a well. This is a well. A be'er, at the door or actually outside the door. So why do I need this outside the entrance city? Because there are loads of people, visitors, shepherds, whatever. I don't want them in. But I do want to give them services. Because when I give them services, they or pay or protect or help whenever I need. We have this way of living together. So this is outside the city. When you'll enter, you notice that inside the city, if I come with all my sheep, there's no place to walk. Yitzchak in Perek Kafvav, Bereshit Kafvav, the whole story is that Yitzchak lives in Be'er Sheva area, and he he moves around because sometimes there's more rain, more bushes and grass for the sheep, but sometimes less. So he's moving around. He's a nomad. And what happens is that he's fighting over water rights. That's exactly what's going on. After he found Mea She'arim, and that's in Kafvav Yud Bet, we get to Yud Dalet. Veyehi lo mikne tzon u'mikne vakar ve'avuda rabba, veyekanu oto plishtim. He's successful. And then? וכל הבארות אשר חפרו עבדי אביו בימי אברהם אביו, סיתמום פלישתים ומלאום עפר. If I can't control it, you don't get it either. Right? They're fighting over water. Never changed since. And then, of course, Vayomer Avimelech El Yitzchak, get out of here. So he moves away from the west towards the east, where there's less water and less fighting. פסוק י"ח, וישוב יצחק ויחפור את בארות המים אשר חפרו בימי אברהם אביו ויסתמום פלישתים אחרי מות אברהם. And of course he gives them the same names. Why is the name important?
Shows ownership.
I give you your name. I name a child. I'm your owner. Paro calls Yosef Tzafnat Pa'aneach. I'm your father. Nebuchadnezzar calls Matanya Tzidkiyahu. I'm your father. I own you when I give you the name. And of course they start fighting all the time. ויחפרו עבדי יצחק בנחל, וימצאו שם באר מים חיים. ויריבו רועי גרר עם רועי יצחק לאמור לנו המים. This is ours. And of course it gets a good name. So there's Esek and there's Sitna. And eventually they settle in a place where they don't fight anymore. And that's where they deal with signing the treaty that Avraham does, and so does Yitzchak, Be'er Shava Kisham Nishbe'u Shnehem. So is it only the 7? It's actually a double 7. It's all the 7 sheep and also the Shvu'ah, Sheva and Shvu'ah. So this is the situation we're talking about. Up here, no one lives at the time. Only a kingdom, a powerful kingdom, can build a city in the wilderness. Supplies, not only water, food supplies. If I can't grow enough crops, someone needs to bring them over. So only from the time that we have an organized kingdom, and that's on your chart, Yemei David Shlomo, 1000 BCE roughly and on, Iron Age, only from that moment will you find the city. What you are looking at, this entryway, this begins in the days of David and Shlomo, this or that.
Sancheriv was the one that destroyed the city, and after Chizkiyahu they came back here and they reestablished the city. And when it says Midan ad Be'er Sheva, this is where Bnei Israel, this was like the end of Bnei Israel and where they stayed.